It's 5 o'clock in Pirate Country, and it's time to get pumped up with the P-Man. Hit the door and hit the road. 94.3 The Game is going to get you home, and the P-Man's not holding back.
Yes! Yes! Pirates win! Pirates win!
Bring on the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Holy mackerel! Oh, my goodness!
The flagship station of the ECU Pirates.
All right, welcome in, everybody. Great to have you with us here. I am merely the great P-Man. It is on air, 94.3 The Game, online, 94.3thegame.com, and on the IBX Media app, free for download at Google Play and the App Store, The Patrick Johnson Show. Thanks for with us here. Philip the Rep Pilkington is alongside. We'll talk hoops with Brian Mull and a couple of segments with him today. Looking forward to that. Pirates win on the diamond last night. Drop a decision on the hardwood in women's basketball. Had a couple of teams locally advance in the state basketball playoffs as Rose advances out of the third round. Congrats to them. They will move on and play on the road in the 3A East playoffs. Farmville Central, the top seed, rolled it home, so they will take on the 4 seed in the fourth round Friday of the basketball playoffs. So congrats to Coach Duck. Congrats to Larry Williford and the players for the Rampants and the Jaguars for moving on. Rough weather today, of course, and that is why we have moved back the first pitch for ECU softball. There will be softball. It'll be at least a 6 o'clock first pitch, maybe push back a hair depending on the results of the weather. Michigan coming to town today. And it'll be a big opportunity for ECU as far as an RPI opportunity. I think Michigan is 33rd in the RPI coming in. All right, I'll be on the call with the lovely and talented Brittany Hoyt for ESPN Plus, so we hope you'll tune in there. And the docile tones you'll hear at the Max tonight over the public address will be those of the ref, Philip J. Pilkington, who is with us here. Phil, as my dad calls him, the coach. Pilk, I'm excited about it. I'm a little juiced up tonight. It's going to be interesting. It's going to be a good game. Really good test for the Pirates, who have played a heck of a docket in softball.
They have, and we got snubbed a couple weeks ago having Duke come to town, a team that was the number 9 overall seed a year ago in the bracket of the Women's College World Series, and then to get a program in like Michigan, they haven't had the recent success maybe of their baseball team, who made it all the way to the finals just a handful of years back, but still a premier program out of a premier conference, like you said, top 35 in the net or in the RPI. This is a big opportunity, and it's always fun when big teams come, especially now that Shane Winkler really has this team on a phenomenal trajectory, and they've played some tough road games this year, haven't really welcomed a big-time home opponent. I guess Boston University was ranked, but it's fun to have one of those power teams finally come in midweek and see how the Pirates measure up, because they had a phenomenal fall. And speaking of those Blue Devils, they hung with them in a scrimmage back in the fall at their place in Durham. So I think Shane Winkler has this team right on the cusp of where they want to be right now. Huge measuring tool tonight.
Shane Winkler, the greatest guy, really good coach, but an even better person. So we had Kaya Hamilton on Talk of the Town this morning, and she is a singer. She graduated from South Central. She's on The Voice, season 27 of The Voice. She's on Bublé's team. And as we know, Michael Bublé was the man approached by Henry Hinton, who stuck his hand out and said, Henry Hinton, big fan, to Michael Bublé. So Kaya is on Bublé's team. She says, Pilk, that she wraps up her throat before she sings, wears a scarf, hot water, honey. So just do you have a pre-public address ritual that you go through for your voice?
No, I think the speakers are just so good there at Max R. Joyner Family Stadium. I could sound like crap, and they would still make me sound good. So mine because I'm terrible at English and at reading. Mine is like looking over the roster of each team like 47 times. Make sure I don't mess anybody's name up.
Yeah, you got to do things phonetically. That's how everybody's spelled out phonetically. I'm going to give you do a really lovely job with the PA, because you have a good cadence. You're a student of the game, so I like it when Pilk's on PA, because you know something, it'll be done the right way. So
I appreciate you saying so. I'm surprised you can hear it with how loud you wear your headphones And because you were Courtney or you and Brittany's voices going in your headphones. By the way, Patrick wears his headphones at the level of Henry, so I'm surprised you can even hear it. But I'm glad for the compliment. Thank you.
It is Spinal Tap, Volume 11. That's what I go with. Volume 11. I was looking for something here. Let me see if I can find it. I don't know if it's on here anymore. I don't think it is. No, I don't think it is. It's not on my my thing here. Oh well. I had a little thing of HV3, Harold Varner III, Dog in the Tar Heels, and that light color blue. That baby color blue. Hope Springs a turtle right now in Chapel Hill, ladies and gentlemen, because they beat a stinky Virginia Tech team last night in Blacksburg. They've won 6 in a row, but they're bringing Duke in to the Dean Dome on Saturday. Look, all the Tar Heels did last night was take care of the business they needed to take care of to set themselves up to get the benefit of the doubt for whatever reason to get in the NCAA tournament. Now, are they playing well? Yeah, they've won the games in front of them. Now, the ACC is horrid. They won the games in front of them. Pilk, Duke is scary right now. Now, Wake quit the other night, which is, I think, more of a reflection of their program and the day and age of college basketball where you're not playing for the name on the front of the jersey so much, especially when the going gets tough. But I will tell you, my man, Duke, right, what they did against Illinois a couple weeks ago, to me, was remarkable. The same Illinois that just blew out Michigan by 20 over the weekend. Frightening. And look, Auburn got beat last night. I think you can make a case, especially if Duke wins and they do well, if not win the ACC tournament, that they could go in the Blue Devils as the number 1 overall seed. They pass the eye test.
They do. The tough thing is their opponents do not, and that's where the measurement's going to be tough. But to your point, they're passing it because they're out there and they're blowing teams out. Good teams beat bad teams badly, and they're beating bad teams worse than badly. I mean, Stanley Borden, their last guy on the bench, had 2 career minutes in his first 3 years of college basketball. He's played 9 minutes now over the last 3 games. That's how bad it's getting, where they're putting the walk-ons in the game at the under 4 media timeout. They can shoot the rock, they can play defense, and they can get the ball inside. They still can't throw a lob to Kumon Malawach. It's about a 1 out of every 7 that they actually get it. I don't know why the chemistry's so bad this late in the year. No more lobs, Duke. No more lobs to Kumon because you guys don't know how to throw it. So it's not his fault. It's that Tyrese Proctor and Cooper Flagg don't know how to throw a lob.
Wait a minute. Cooper Flagg doesn't know how to do something on the basketball court?
He's not
Bill.
God. He's good. He's no God.
Okay. Take the O out or add the O.
Add the O.
He
He's great.
He's pretty great. He's pretty great. It's interesting. Powell, Jackson, they're starting to play well. Carolina has gotten better. I still think R.J. Davis is apt to go off. And here's the reality of, and we'll talk to Brian Mull a little bit about this matchup coming up, but, this is the reality of, as my great friend John Feinstein, Duke alum, said, it's the Carolina P factor. They're lucky is blank. P-I, you know. It's that factor. And the Heels will play out of their gourd. They'll make shots that they haven't made all year. And that's great. Look, Duke needs that environment. Duke needs that test that they will get in Chapel Hill. We'll see if they pass it. Interesting game last night in Fayetteville. Late night for Philip the Ref Pilkington. And it was ECU out slugging. Let's just call it like it is. And outlasting Gardner Webb last night. Big win for the Pirates, Pilk. I think that was a good one for ECU. Gives them 3 in a row and now 4 of their last 5. 6-6 entering a key series this weekend with Coastal Carolina at home. And, very excited to see now how the Pirates are starting to put a little something together. This weekend, though, will be a pretty good test.
It will. To going back to last night, you didn't want that blemish on your resume, and shout out Jake Hunter. He looked like the Jake Hunter of old. 5 innings, 2 earned runs phenomenal. He had 7 Ks. So, but your point going to this weekend, Patrick, this is huge. And it's not huge because it's the next one, which I know it is to the players, but look, Coastal is better than anyone else in your league. And this will prep you for league play, and this will be the kind of the season or the series that defines where the committee views you. If you go and just kind of cruise through the conference as Pirates expect to do, they'll probably lose 1 or 2 conference series just because you can't win them all. But if you can go out there and take 2 or even 3 this weekend, that's going to prove to the committee come Memorial Day that you can play with the big dogs, because at the end of the day, the host opportunity is still there for East Carolina.
Walker Barron extended his hitting streak. Austin Irby had a multi-home run game, which was pretty cool. Drew Downs, a couple of hits for the Pirates. 23 hits combined, 15 pitchers. I know that was a lot of fun for you, the 15 pitchers that were used in
There
the
were
game.
150 pitches thrown between the two teams in the first 3 innings.
Yeah.
25 per half inning. Might need to go to 7-inning midweek baseball if this stays going. But hey, at least we're not Holy Cross. Did you see what George Mason did last night in the second inning?
Yeah, 23 in the second inning. George Mason, I think a year or 2 ago, had a big inning against somebody. They've been apt to do that under Coach Camp up there, which I'm a big Coach Camp fan because he obviously played for the Cubs, but he's just a good guy. 23 runs in an inning. Sheesh.
Record.
Yeah, NCAA record.
Yep, that was 21.
Got a couple things to play from that. Let's hit the audio here with Coach CG, proud of his team's at-bats.
Walker had a good night. Irby had a good night. A lot of walks in there. Drew Downs had a good night as well. So, a lot of guys are putting together tough at-bats, and that's a good thing.
Pilk, you want me to let you use for the update the second cut on the pitching? You want me to?
Yeah,
can
that
I
sounds
yield
good.
that to you?
Yes,
okay.
Perfect.
So let's hear from Walker Barron. He talked about the aggressiveness, which ECU was aggressive in their approach offensively.
We talk about getting a guy out of the game, and when a guy's throwing a lot of heaters, leaving them up and a lot of breaking balls down in the dirt, you're looking for one pitch. So,
Walker Barron's been the Iron Man this year. He has caught every pitch of every inning for the Pirates.
Work a lot in our catching group, and Coach trusts those 2 guys behind me to go in any time, and I just try to do my job and keep the balls in front of me.
Very, very good stuff. So the Pirates and Coastal Carolina, 4 o'clock on Saturday. Looking at right now, and I know we've had rough weather today, looking at the possibility of some showers, about a 50-50 shot. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see the Sunday game time altered. I don't know if it'll go doubleheader. It's just speculative. On Saturday, I don't know if it would go 2, but it certainly would be altered, I would have to imagine, depending on the timing of that precip. More on that tomorrow when we have our show from Williams Arena Minges Coliseum. So the big news is also in today, yesterday, Pilk, as we told you, Clemson, Florida State, and they have come to an agreement, as has the ACC. This is podcaster David Hood, who covers the Clemson Tigers, and on what has come about as of this agreement that was reached yesterday. Here is Hood on that, and then Pilk and I will give you some comment to the news.
Clemson stated intention, from the beginning. We need to find out what our rights are, because that grant of rights, that document had been locked away in the ACC archives under lock and key. People with machine guns can't get in to read it, can't take photos of it, but we need to know what are our options. It wasn't Clemson's stated intention to leave. They just simply wanted a bigger piece of the pie. They needed to know what their options were in regards to that ESPN contract. And, of course, the 2 big bugaboos, were the exit fee, which, if that were to happen today, around $165 million. And in other words, it's a third of the conference's operating budget yearly. So around $165 million. But added to that was this huge number that Florida State came up with, what are the media rights fees? Because if Clemson had left a year ago, it would be, the fact that they would not get to the rights to any of their broadcast games, football, baseball, basketball, whatever, through 2036. It would remain with the ACC, even if Clemson was in the Big Ten or the SEC. Big sticking point, because if you're not getting those media rights fees, you're not making any money. Clemson now has clarity on all of that. The exit fee, if they were to leave today, and they can leave today now, you just have to write a check for $165 million if you had an invite. Let me make that clear. Clemson is not leaving today. They don't have an invite, but they could leave today. and they would take their media rights fees with them.
So that's the big take home with this, is essentially this speeds up the possible exit of Clemson, Florida State, the University north of Carborough, maybe Virginia, maybe Miami, maybe Duke, to get out of there about 5 years before the TV deal winds up. To me, there'll be more legal wrangling, but at least it keeps the ACC together for now. Especially if you're not stacking the exit fee on top of the money that would go to the conference as far as the media rights. That's the big thing here. The exit fee, not so much. Any side could come up with the money to write it and write the check for the exit fee. But it was not retaining. In other words, kind of what SMU's doing. SMU for the next 7 years says we're not taking any TV money. We're funding that ourselves. That's essentially what Clemson and Florida State and anybody else who would leave would have to do under the old deal. It's interesting. It's interesting. Is this the demise of the ACC, Pilk? Are we now on the countdown clock like the debt clock or the Y2K from back in my day?
I think we are, and it's unfortunate because I hit on it yesterday how loyal ACC fans are to their conference. I watch, even though the conference is down, I watch every game of the ACC tournament every year. And if Duke and Carolina packed up and left, I don't know if I would watch every game of the ACC tournament, and I probably wouldn't watch every game of whatever tournament they joined, even though those are the teams that would be the driving factor of me not liking the ACC as much. If they join the Big Ten, I'm not going to watch every game of the Big Ten because I don't care about Minnesota against Iowa. I just don't, unless it's late in the tournament. That's the thing. Yeah. But I care about Georgia Tech versus Virginia because I grew up in ACC country. So yes, I think this is the beginning of the end. It's unfortunate. If there is an earthquake in Raleigh, that is Everett Case rolling over in his grave. He helped find this conference. He founded this tournament. And it's a shame, and the powers that be should be ashamed, and they are ruining college athletics in many, many ways, and this is just one of them.
Yep. But you left out something very important there. You and I love basketball. The ACC founded on basketball. This is all about football.
I know.
This is all about football.
Well, they can leave in football. Let's have different conferences. Why not?
Unfortunately, the ship has sailed, and the SEC and the Big Ten would never do anything that makes that much sense at this point. All right, we're hitting a break. Coming back, Brian Mull. Speaking of hoops, we're going to talk a lot of hoops this hour. To the great Brian Mull when we come back here on the Patrick Johnson Show.
Acre Station Meat Farm, along with Lane Angus Beef, bring you Farm to Fork Beef.
Stock your freezers now with affordable beef boxes, just in time for the grilling season.
Farm to Fork Beef brings quality local beef to your family. From your traditional butcher shop, Acre Station Meat Farm. Come on down to Acre Station Meat Farm and find out why we're #1 in fresh cuts and friendly service.
Acre Station Meat Farm, Highway 32 North, Pinetown.
Living easy is the sound of children laughing as you make memories with neighbors and friends. It's the sound of nothing at all. It's the smell of the salt air. Hear the waters against the marsh grass. See the beauty of our coast. Bow Coast, located in Beaufort, North Carolina. Southern living's best small town.
Other restaurants claim their food is fresh and fast, but are they friendly? At Moore's, you're treated like family the minute you walk into their doors. With locations in Winterville, New Bern, Swansboro, Morehead City, and Jacksonville. We've been practicing what we preach since 1945. At Moore's, our barbecue is slow cooked and smoked over real wood daily until it's so tender it's falling off the bone. Combined with our fresh chicken, cook-to-order seafood, and homemade fixins, we're sure you'll agree. If it's not Moore's, it's less.
This is about you, your family, and the health of all who live in Eastern North Carolina. This is about the transformation of a health system into something more powerful and more human, about creating new ways to treat disease and keep you well. This is about ECU Health, which is to say, it's really all about you. ECU Health. Minds, hearts, purpose.
Your roof is a vital part of protecting your home and family from dangerous storms and hurricanes. At Assist Roofing, we install and maintain metal roofing that provides precise protection. Add value to your home while lowering utility costs with a fortified roof to last a lifetime. With 0% financing, grants, and Energy Star Green Roofing tax credit available. Call us to schedule a free consultation so you can weather any storm with confidence.
Have you noticed he's in his own little happy hour? We're back to the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
This is the Happy Hour program.
Here's the P-Man.
All right, welcome back to the show. Pirates softball coming up at the top of the hour from the Max. Hope you'll come out and enjoy the game, again, scheduled to take place at that point. We've got ECU basketball tomorrow. We will be at Williams Arena, Minges Coliseum, starting at 5 o'clock. That's it, 5 o'clock. That'll be coming your way with Cy Seymour and others as we get ready for ECU v. Tulane. And the Pirates are a couple of games back of Tulane for the fourth spot. Pirates went out, beat Tulane, beat FAU, could find themselves in a position where they are able to get the double bye and move up to fourth. Right now, sitting in fifth. 7 o'clock tomorrow, you can listen to, again, our coverage starting at 5 o'clock, and then at 6:30, it will be the Pirates and Tulane on the network pregame show with Darren, who I believe, Darren's back, isn't he? Tomorrow, I guess he is.
He is, yep.
And I can tell you that myself, the great Cy Seymour, and the talented Madison Little will be on the assignment for ESPN Plus, our final hoops game of the regular year. All right, speaking of hoops, let's go down to the port city of Wilmington, where our dear friend Brian Mull joins us. He is back on Joe Lunardi's team, baby, covering the SEC and others, writing those capsules for Joe Lunardi. Back on the Lunardi team, cashing that mouse check, Mull. Attaboy. That mouse money, when it hits the mailbox, I got that for a little while when I was working for ABC. Nothing better than that mouse money. That's as solid as a dollar right there, that Disney money. Let me tell you. You ain't got to worry about it when you take it to the pay window, to the bank. It's cashing, baby. It's cashing. All right. So congrats to you, Brian, on that. I'm happy for you, buddy, as I always am. A big Brian Mull fan.
Thank you, sir.
You know what's great, Pilk? We get to do a little Mull extended and unplugged today, which I'm fired up about. So
unplugged. Oh no, does that mean I have to have my hand on the mute button?
No. I think Mull will be fine. I think he's.
I
by the way, did you play yesterday?
I had a little time in the car yesterday to reflect on some things. So just warning everyone. Yeah, I played at golf. I got the ball airborne pretty consistently, and had a great time with some good people. And it was about what I would expect for someone who's 2 months removed from his previous round. But you know what? Spring is here. It's coming. It's March. Just ask John Rothstein. And a lot of great things happen in March. The world champion Los Angeles Dodgers will play a real baseball games soon. And there's a little basketball going on. Today is the last day for a very long time when there's not daytime basketball. I'm just looking through the schedule. So all you sickos that don't really want to work, anyway, like me, and just want to watch ball during the day, you can do that starting tomorrow.
It's a beautiful time of year. It is. All right, let's talk about the game tomorrow night in Greenville. Pirates 5th. Look, there was a time this year where a upper half of the American finish was probably a little questionable. To finish in the upper third, obviously you have some work to do. You got to take care of your own and then get some help. But that starts tomorrow night with Tulane. For Ron Hunter, this is his best defensive team. I don't know if that's saying a lot, but he's got some guards that can control tempo. They did in the earlier matchup in New Orleans. So I'm very, very interested in the game tomorrow night because Ron Hunter, and they had their problems. They had lost 6 in a row at one point in December, I believe. But they've righted the ship there.
Ron Hunter, we've known him a long time, and he is certainly one of the characters in college basketball. And someone who, when you look at, he's like the opposite of Roy Williams. And this is no knock on Roy, but Roy coached at Kansas and North Carolina, which, is like selling Cadillacs to millionaires. Ron Hunter has coached at IU, PUI, Georgia State, and Tulane. I mean, nobody is really aware that all three of those programs even are Division I. And he's won. He took Georgia State to the tournament. And he has done an admirable job at Tulane. When you look at what they lost, look no further than Durham. Sihon James obviously could have come back to Tulane this year, but is a very key player for one of the best teams in the country. But Hunter has formed that identity on the defensive end, like you said, which was a problem in recent seasons, and 11 conference wins. That's not something that has happened frequently at Tulane for any of their conference affiliations. And now this is the third time in the last 4 years, all under Hunter's watch, that they reached double-figure conference wins. And, Mike Dunleavy, Ed Conroy, there are a lot of guys that came through there that they didn't even sniff that. So hats off to Ron. And hats off to Mike Schwartz. But just a great coaching job with this team to maximize what he has and to have them turn it around when it looked like the ship had a lot of holes in it there in January.
I'm looking at R.J. Felton, who, got honored, recognized before the game the other day. He's third on the scoring list, trailing Lester Lyons. Pretty good company. That's a name you know. We had Lester on the show last week. Look at what he's done the last 5 games, Brian. Now, I don't know if he could shoot it at this clip, 57% from 3, but he's averaging 24. And if R.J. Felton can continue that pace over the next couple of weeks, you got to feel really good about the Pirate chances to make some noise at the very least in the tournament in Fort Worth.
No doubt. And I think we'll elaborate on this further later, but R.J. Felton is what more college coaches need to be looking for. A guy that came in raw, obvious why the top tier schools would overlook a guy at his size. His skill level was not where they needed it to be. But you could see his athleticism and his just dynamic ability to just overpower people and his just toughness and from the beginning. And now his skills developed each season, made himself into a very good 3-point shooter, 42% from 3 in conference. I mean, I don't think anybody saw that from him early in his career as even a possibility, but that's through hard work and confidence and can get to the rim. He's made 100 twos, almost 100 free throws, 69 threes. I mean, these are versus D1. I mean, that's incredible line right there. Just consistency. He's a huge part of the offense. And these coaches that are not winning need to be out there trying to find their R.J. Feltons and maybe spend a little less time in the portal.
Well, let's talk about that before we get into things. We'll talk Duke, Carolina, too. But, I thought Wake quit the other night. And I know you've spent a lot of time in the car thinking. I got Pilk. I got one of the great Brian Mull philosophical calls yesterday afternoon. And then Mull just goes right into his thoughts. It was a stream of consciousness. This is why we love Mull.
There you go.
Why we love Brian.
Sounds
Mull.
like a fun call to be on.
Well, it is. Brian Mull with us at BG Mull on X, by the way, part of Joe Lunardi's team, Blue Ribbon, college basketball, and golf scribe. All right. Wake, look no further. You know, we hear about, you gotta adjust to the portal, you gotta adapt to the portal, it's the new age, but look no further than the situation in Winston-Salem as some of the failures of said portal and said culture.
Yeah, and first, the disclaimer: there are certain coaches, Mark Byington at Vanderbilt, Pat Kelsey at Louisville, who have Takeo Siddle at UNC Wilmington. There are coaches who have a very innate ability to get into that portal and construct a roster, not assemble talent, but construct a roster and do their diligence on character and buy-in and teamwork and build it and turn it around quickly or keep it going from year to year through the portal. But there's been a handful of coaches that I've followed and known for a long time, and starting with Brownell at Clemson, Keats at State, Forbes, Mike Young at Virginia Tech. I mean, all these guys can coach. I mean, Mike Young won an ACC championship. He beat the Duke team that went to the Final Four. But they're using the wrong model. I mean, these teams are at epically low KenPom ratings historically, and they're using the wrong model. They are trying to reassemble a new team each year through the portal, and they're not going to be able to compete. Look, it's going to be difficult for these middle-of-the-road programs to compete with the top tier, the ACC, the Blue Bloods, the Dukes, and the North Carolinas year in and year out anyway, but they're never going to be able to do it by changing their roster every year. The only continuity, chemistry, development is the only path. And I think we're seeing that. We're seeing that in some of these lopsided margins. You could understand if you're at Virginia Tech or Florida State or any of these schools who are going nowhere right now. What motivation do you have other than to just keep putting the uniform on so the NIL checks will keep coming in? And I just don't think going forward, if I were an AD and we're hiring a coach, I would try to give him a 6-year contract and tell him, I need you to build this team through, and then we're going to give the NIL money to the guys that perform and stick around when they can go on the market.
That seems, Brian, respectfully, that seems a little pie in the sky.
We're going to give them a little bit up front, but we're going to reward them down the road. And if they don't like it, we don't want them here.
Yeah, but what AD is going to have the guts, the testicular fortitude to be that visionary? I mean, it's so win now.
Well, you're not going to win now. Mike Young is wired for that. I mean, these programs, they haven't won at all. What have they won? When was the last time Georgia Tech won anything? When's the last time that, these teams have had even, at least North Carolina State and Miami each had a Final Four, even though they're two of the worst programs in the conference now, which shows you the volatility of the portal if you miss, and why Jim Larinaga quit on his team the day after Christmas because he had had enough of watching guys. While Leonard Hamilton has got Leonard Hamilton, who was told early in his career that he couldn't be a head coach because of his race, and he has guys coming in probably asking for $200,000 that can't get 2 rebounds. I mean, he's like, I'm out. Peace. See you later. This doesn't work. This is not reality. And it's not sustainable for these mediocre programs. They're not going to be able to beat lottery picks and NBA talent, although there's less of that in the ACC than there's ever been. Most of it's in one place. But they're just not going to be able to compete using this disjointed model. I think it's obvious in some of these scores. I mean, in all of these, you've got 7 teams in the ACC that are 100 or worse in KenPom. It's an embarrassment to the history of the league.
More from Brian Mull. We'll talk UNC and Duke, and we'll talk coaching carousel and more when we return. A break, but before we hit the commercial message, here is Philip the Ref Pilkington with a 94.3 The Game Sports Flash update and Pirate Report.
Thank you, P-Man. Last night was kind of an up-and-down night in Pirate Athletics. The women's basketball team fell to the AAC regular season champ UTSA Roadrunners. The women have finished their regular season with an 8-10 record in conference play and an overall record of 16-14. They will begin the conference tournament on Sunday night when they take on Memphis at 7 o'clock. And on the baseball diamond, things went a little bit better, at least for the Pirate Bats, as they defeated Gardner-Webb 11-8. However, Coach Godwin says the pitching needs to be better.
You got to be able to go out there and pitch when it's a hitter's zone where you have to throw to the plate. I mean, now with all the video and all the TrackMan stuff, I mean, umpires are making you throw it over the white, and it makes it difficult at times, but that's got to be your job, and you got to be able to do it, make them earn it, and definitely too many freebies on the pitching side of things, but we'll clean it up and we'll get better.
Pirates will be back in action Friday when they host the Chanticleers of Coastal Carolina at 4 o'clock. You can hear it right here on 94.3 The Game at 3:45. Speaking of the Diamond, the softball ladies will be on the Diamond tonight as they host Michigan. That first pitch is scheduled for 6 o'clock. Reminder that admission is free all season long to Max R. Joyner Family Stadium. Getting away from Pirate Athletics now, looking elsewhere. The Canes were 2-1 victors last night over the Detroit Red Wings. It was a pair of Jordans finding the back of the net as Jordan Martinook scored late in the first period and Jordan Stahl scored early in the second for that 2-1 victory. And looking at the NBA now, the Hornets will be back in action tonight hosting the T-Wolves. They try and snap a 7-game losing streak, 6 of which for the Hornets figures, one of which was by over 50 points. That'll do it for your 94.3 The Game Sports Flash Update and Pirate Report. We're going to do a deeper dive into college basketball, including previewing this weekend ahead with the big North Carolina Duke matchup in Chapel Hill with Brian Mull on the other side.
Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Looking for a great deal on a new Nissan?
At Greenville Nissan, we've got a great selection of new Nissans for under $30,000.
The stylish Nissan Sentra, offering top-notch fuel economy. The Nissan Altima, known for its comfort and technology.
The Nissan Kicks, the perfect combination with its compact design and performance. The Nissan Versa, delivering incredible value without compromising on features. And don't forget the Nissan Rogue, an award winner for 10 years in a row. Drive it home just for $22 down and $349 a month.
Visit GreenvilleNissan.com today.
Greenville Nissan, where we drive to serve.
The best burgers around. Everyone loves a thick, juicy, and fresh burger. Tiebreakers in Greenville, plus the all-new Tiebreakers in Winterville. Do real burgers, better than anybody. So don't just go to any burger-themed restaurant chain. It's time to break the chain and eat local. Tiebreakers, real burgers at its best.
Everybody loves burgers. Hi, I'm D.R. Alligood.
And I'm his daughter, Jessica.
For 11 years, we have built quality driveways and parking lots for both your residential and commercial needs. We also offer free on-site quotes to have your custom driveways built the way you want.
252-946-1227.
Your confidence makes everything look good. You see the world in vivid color, not black and white. Swing through your neighborhood Fantastic Sam's Cut in Color. And let our experienced stylists take you from everyday to extraordinary.
Fantastic Sam's hair salons are locally owned and operated. Our full-service salons are conveniently located in Goldsboro, Kinston, Greenville, New Bern, Jacksonville, and Calabash. Stop in today at Fantastic Sam's, where the possibilities are endless.
You know what the problem is with standard belts? Usually you have to choose between too tight or the opposite, too loose. But with Anson Belt and Buckle, you don't have to choose. We got rid of the holes and instead have a track system designed for micro-adjustability. That way you can enjoy a perfect fit every time. Anson Belt and Buckle. Find your perfect fit today.
Pirate fans, 2025 East Carolina football season tickets are on sale now and can be purchased for as little as $115. Head coach Blake Harrell wants you to be a part of his first full season as the Pirate coach as he builds momentum off of the 8-win season and the Military Bowl win over North Carolina State. Call 1-800-DIAL-ECU or go to ECUPirates.com today to get your 2025 season tickets.
Hell yeah! Hell yeah! Hell yeah!
Download the new IBX Media app now and get the show for your ears and eyes.
Doesn't it look great on me?
This is the Patrick Johnson Show on 94.3 The Game.
Brian Mull with Joe Lunardi's team. He'll be part of the ESPN capsules that Joe Lunardi puts out under his banner over the next several days and weeks, a couple weeks, as we get ready for Selection Sunday, which is about 10 days away. Of course, we'll have Pirate basketball tomorrow, and the PJ Show will be originating from Williams Arena Minges Coliseum for the final time this regular season as we get ready for ECU and Tulane tomorrow night. Brian, it's Duke Carolina this weekend, Saturday night. Tar Heels have won 6 in a row. They beat up on a pretty putrid Hokie outfit last night. I'll give the Devil their due. The Tar Heels are playing better, but they're just winning against a pretty rotten ACC. Duke, meantime, right now, with Auburn losing, I think there's strong consideration. Could the Devils be the number 1 overall seed? They got to take care of business, of course. But when you look at this, Brian, how do you see this matchup going at Chapel Hill? The Tar Heels will play out of their booty. I don't think there's any two ways about that. I mean, as our good friend John Feinstein calls it, they're lucky as P blah blah blah, the P factor in a sense. So the Heels will play out of their mind, though.
You will get North Carolina's very best effort, and I think that's been a big part of their turnaround. And talking to some Carolina insiders is just some of the little things, the intangibles, guys hitting the floor, a little more fight at times on the perimeter, on screens, things that you weren't seeing when they dropped 5 of 7 there in the middle of the road. And to Hubert Davis's credit, he made adjustments. I think he wanted to play small and super fast with this team, but just realized that was not a winning formula. He's gone a little bigger, giving them a little bit more on the interior, which is, obviously still a weakness. But, they beat Ken Palm teams rated 119, 127, 103, 91, 199, and 158. So, you can be excited about that. They're certainly winning games they're supposed to win. But this Duke team has taken on another level since the first meeting, which they dominated. It felt like Duke made a conscious effort to control tempo and keep North Carolina out of transition in that game. And I'm sure that will be a priority for John Shire's team again. But Duke has played much faster. Shire mentioned it in his post-game comments after Wake Forest, said it was sickening to him to watch how slow they had played in the first game against Wake Forest in January. Forbes mentioned the same thing, saying the difference between the Duke that they played in January and the one that they played the other night was they were playing faster and with more confidence on offense. And certainly the addition of Isaiah Evans to the rotation was creating some more opportunities. And when you look at Duke's last 4 games, they're their 4 fastest games of the year from a possession standpoint, all at 70 possessions or more. So be interesting to watch the tempo. Will they want to go to Chapel Hill and just run with the Tar Heels, which is probably gives them their best chance, or make it more of a half-court game where Duke's size and length can be a huge advantage? Either way, it's going to be I think Carolina can score, make some threes, keep it interesting, but just over 40 minutes, I think it's it's an uphill climb for the Tar Heels. They're going to have to do a lot right and get a few breaks.
Let's talk some coaching carousel news. There's some strong indications that South Florida is going to make a change. They're going to go and hire someone permanent. Of course, they had the horrible situation with the head coach preseason, and it's just the death. It's just not been a positive situation. Where do you think they go as far as teams in the conference looking for a new head coach?
A lot of nervous people down here in the Port City as the rumblings become stronger and stronger that UNCW head man Takeo Siddle is, if not their top choice, certainly near the top of their list, and could come with an offer that it would be very difficult for UNCW to match. Although I've also been told that they're doing their excellent athletic director Mike Oblinger and the donors are doing everything they can to solidify the future there and make a strong counter offer. But that will be fascinating to watch. Siddle has done a terrific job down here. He's not won the conference tournament, which you could judge somebody just on that. But what he's done is build a consistent winner of 20 plus wins, a top 4 CAA team year in and year out. Really, the only bad year he had was his first year, the COVID year. So he has shown that he can adapt. He's a perfect fit. He loves this new portal era. He can rebuild a roster and build a team in the summer and form the identity he wants. So I think that will be very fascinating to watch. And then obviously it would create a very attractive opening down here. And one name, Joel Justice, is a name that I've heard bandied about, and of course, NC State, Kentucky assistant and former player for the Seahawks.
Yeah, and Calipari loves him some Joel Justice. All right, so let's talk some of the Tobacco Road or ACC possibilities. We know Virginia's got to make a move. I just they have to. Might not. Obviously, Miami. Obviously, who else have we talked about that has the opening? Florida State, yeah. And then Virginia Tech, Wake Forest. What is so? Are we looking at 5? Now, they've not done anything yet at Wake or Virginia Tech. Not saying they're going to, but those seem like likely possibilities. Say that again.
Mike is safe. Mike's safe at Virginia Tech, from what I understand.
Okay.
He's a good coach, and that's a hard job. And you know, they have a very bad roster this year, and that's going to happen when you're playing portal grab bag. I mean, they're starting Jaden Shute, who would be like the 12th man in Durham, and it's just hard to win games. It's hard to win games with that level of talent. I mean, at the end of the day, X's and O's are great, but I like talent. And they don't have there's just so many ACC teams that don't even have a guy. It's just like, I don't know what they were watching and doing. I mean, I love Steve Forbes, but Efton Reed wasn't even a factor on bad LSU teams. And like, he's going to be the guy to get you to the NCAA tournament in the post. And to put together a team that shoots 28% from 3 for the season, that's just unacceptable. Also, Steve. Yeah, I think
he's
Young's
done,
okay.
right? I mean, Wake's got to look. They gave up the other night against Duke and Durham. They quit.
That was embarrassing. The second half, it was almost like I thought they came out. Obviously, I mean, they had a great defensive game plan. They held Duke without a point for the first 3 minutes. They did a lot of things right. Duke didn't shoot the ball particularly well from 3, and then they look up at halftime, they're down 13. And I think they make that little run to come out of the locker room, and Cooper Flagg squashed that in about 2 plays. And then, yeah, they could have been halfway. They could have been in Burlington by the time the game was over, and nobody would have noticed. It was an embarrassment to Carl Tacey, Anthony Tichy, Dave Odom, Randolph Childress. I mean, that was just an embarrassment to that rivalry.
Rodney Rogers, the great Rodney Rogers, embarrassment to him. Tim Duncan. Come on.
I mean, come on.
Brian, so where does Wake go? Because Wake's got problems right now. They don't want to admit they've got real problems right now at Wake Forest as far as the landscape. I'm talking the entire.
Yeah, they got to figure out who they are. They got to figure out who they are, and I think I've spent my fair share of time up there. Winston-Salem's a great spot. I think it's an underrated city in the state. Wake's a cool campus, small classes. It's just a completely different experience than what you're going to get at most P4s. And you've got to get people in there that want to hang around and get into that. And I know I sound like I'm riding a covered wagon to this radio show by saying that, but like, you're not, it's not a transient situation there. It's the type of place where it's kind of an intimate feel and people have some pride in it. And, you know, you look at all the great players they've had from the state of North Carolina through the years. I got to think those guys are still out there and want an opportunity to play in the ACC, but they do have some serious problems, and it will be interesting to see where they go. I know the boosters there are very, very frustrated with 5, you know, and some of it's not Forbes' fault. They've won his fair share of ACC games, but ACC's just been bad.
Yeah. All right. Where does Virginia go really quick?
Ryan Odom would be my choice. I've known Ryan for a long time. He used to give me buckets and Minjies when his dad was the coach at ECU. when we were little sprouts. But Brian's a great guy. He's a great coach. He's a perfect fit. He grew up in Charlottesville when his dad was on Terry Holland's staff, used to rebound for Ralph Sampson. Brian Odom there, and then Kevin Keats' escape plan to VCU would be perfect in my mind.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, the state thing's interesting too. What about Florida State? What about Miami?
I think Jay Lucas will be the guy at Miami. I know that's been kind of weird the way that's come about, but I understand he's putting a staff together, and Shire's not real happy. He doesn't want any distractions on what obviously is a national championship caliber team, but that's just the nature of it. Miami also wants to, they need to have somebody in place as soon as possible. So it's not the first guy to kind of do two jobs at one time, and we'll see what effect that may or may not have. FSU's been weird. I haven't heard a lot down there. I would think that's a pretty attractive job. I keep hearing Luke Laux played there, the assistant with the Sacramento Kings. I'm not real excited about that. Maybe he's a genius, but I want a college guy. I want somebody who understands this way of going about things.
All right, 1 minute, 1 minute and a half for here. What are some things to be on the lookout for as far as just tournaments, interesting teams over the next few days as we get underway with tournament basketball tomorrow?
Yeah, I hate to say this, but as far as like bid thieves and bubble, it's one of the slower years in recent memory. I mean, I think there'll be a little bit of shuffling down at the bottom, perhaps, with some teams that get hot and improve their situation. I mean, Duke and North Carolina could meet twice, so Carolina could have two opportunities at not just a quad one win, but a phenomenal quad one win. And but I don't see a ton of basically your bracket matrix or your Joe Lenardi. I mean, they're pretty dialed in at this point. I think the number one seeds are Auburn, Duke, Houston. And then after that, is it going to be Alabama or Florida? Well, guess what? They play basketball tonight at 7:00 in Tuscaloosa. So that game could go a long way towards deciding that. And Tennessee probably still thinks they have a chance. So conference tournaments are still great. Remember, March Madness begins this week for the mid-majors because they're trying to survive in advance, and their whole season comes down to 3 or 4 days.
Great to talk to you, buddy. We'll get you squared away next week at some point. We'll look at the schedule, and we'll get you on because this is the best time of year to have Brian Mull with us. So thanks a lot, my friend.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the hoops and have a great week.
There he is, the great Brian Mull. Follow him at BG Mull on X. He'll be very active during this time. That was great, wasn't it, Pilk? Was that everything you thought it would be and more, Pilk?
Of course. Well, I don't know if I'd say more because I set the bar so high for Mull. Like I put it through the roof, and he meets it every time. I don't know if he.
That was a good idea, though, to have him on just as the only guest and do it extended.
Yes, I like when he's two segments. I know that we don't always respect his time because we make him. Come on the very beginning of Oops, wrong. That's Brian Mull.
Look at him, ladies and gentlemen. That young, good-looking fella there, Brian Mull.
But no, it's great, and it'll be just as good when basketball ends and we get to talk golf with him because he's just as knowledgeable there as he is on the hard court.
All right, we're going to have our show for Minji's tomorrow at 5 o'clock, the Patrick Johnson Show. The great Cy Seymour joins me, other great guests. We get you ready for ECU and Tulane. Also, coming up, Pilk and I will be at the softball stadium, the Max, ECU, Michigan. And check me out there this evening on ESPN Plus, Pilk on the public address there. And then tomorrow morning, Talk of the Town with Sky David and other great guests. I'll be filling in for Henry on the final day while he's in Washington, D.C. Hey, enjoy the rest of your evening, everybody, and we'll catch you tomorrow. PJ Show.